Welcome to Car Comparos. Today we'll be comparing the all-new Hyundai Elantra versus the Toyota Corolla Altis. Pricing and features. Elantra's top-end SXO petrol automatic variant retails for 20.9 lakh rupees on road Delhi, while its arch-rival the Corolla Altis sells its range-topping VL petrol automatic for 21.7 lakh rupees, which is around 80,000 rupees more expensive than the equivalent Elantra. In spite of being cheaper, the Elantra SXO also has way more features than the Corolla Altis VL, like side and curtain airbags, xenon HID headlamps, automatic tailgate opening, dual zone climate control, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, electric sunroof, ventilated front seats, auto front windscreen defog, and a cooled glove box, while the Altis only has a few extra features that are absent in the Elantra, like LED headlamps, gear shift paddles, auto headlamp leveling, and a rear sunshade. The Elantra SXO80 diesel costs 22.2 lakh rupees, whereas Toyota does not offer a diesel automatic option at all. Fuel efficiency. The Elantra petrol has an ARAI certified mileage of 14.6 kmpl, which is 2.1 kmpl less than the Corolla Altis. In our real-world tests, the Corolla Altis automatic was consistently 2 kmpl more efficient than the automatic Elantra, while the difference in the manual geared petrol cars was less than 1 kmpl. The Elantra diesel has an ARAI certified mileage of 22.5 kmpl, which is 1.2 kmpl more than the Corolla Altis. But in our back-to-back tests, the Corolla was actually half a kmpl more efficient than the Elantra thanks to a better low-end torque and lesser turbo lag, requiring less frequent gear shifting around city streets. Performance and drivability. The Elantra petrol looks promising on paper. It puts out more power and more torque than the Corolla's petrol mill. But in reality, Elantra's age-old torque converter transmission loses out big time to Corolla's state-of-the-art CVT gearbox. The Corolla shifts seamlessly, unlike the Elantra's gearbox, which takes its own sweet time to execute the shifts. Toyota has also equipped the Corolla with those delicious gear shift paddles which simulate virtual gear ratios when you need some instant overtaking punch. Both cars delight the occupants with their incredible refinement and sound deadening, but the Elantra more so than the Corolla. Albeit the Elantra's mill does get a bit thrashy than the Corolla's does at the red light. When it comes to diesels, the Elantra turns the tables on the Corolla. Unlike the boy racer fraternity who keeps criticizing the Corolla for its piddly little 1400cc diesel mill, we actually agree with Toyota that middle-aged gentlemen who buy C-segment sedans are hardly ever going to even utilize the full potential of a 1400cc engine. The Elantra is not just a more powerful car than the Corolla. Not that the performance advantage isn't noticeable. In fact, Elantra has a whopping 40% better power to weight ratio and 20% better torque to weight ratio than the Altis. Elantra's performance is noticeably better than the Corolla's across the rev range. But that's not all. It is also far more refined and free revving than the Altis. Not to forget, it is also more fuel efficient than the Altis, something which the middle-aged customers who buy these cars will find hard to argue against. Space and comfort. Both cars have spacious, comfortable and plush cabins, but even then, only the Elantra really makes you feel like you have entered a car with a snobbish badge, rather than something humdrum like Hyundai or Toyota. In fact, Hyundai have gotten so good at building cabins that they feel like an upgrade over some Audis and Beamers. Just try getting out of an A3 and immediately getting inside an Elantra. Both cars have tremendous, in fact a bit excessive knee room and leg room all around. Accommodating 3 passengers in the rear won't be a problem. Even boot space is more or less identical in both cars, with Elantra having 475 litres of it and the Corolla Altis having 470 litres of boot volume. Handling and ride quality. Neither of these cars are meant for the petrol heads amongst us. They were meant to be overtly safe and predictable around the curves, not feelsome or responsive like the Octavias and Jettas of this world. They were made to be effortless to drive, not enthusiastic. They weren't made to be involving to drive, but rather they were made to isolate the occupants from the roads beneath, and they do a decent job of it. Ride quality is plush even for the rear passengers, and their suspensions work silently, never letting you know of the hard work that it is doing. The Altis holds a small advantage over the Elantra thanks to increased ride height, which helps it face the lunar landscape of Indian roads a bit better. Elantra, on the other hand, wins the title of the most improved suspension over the last generation, if that's of any consolation. Reliability and after-sales service. Both brands are evenly matched when it comes to providing excellent service support in our country. Hyundai is still on a back foot when it comes to the inherent reliability of its vehicles compared to Toyota. Toyota's bulletproof reliability is not a new thing. A brand new Elantra might even be as trouble-free as a Corolla when it is new. But 8 to 10 years down the line, the Corolla will still retain its trims in a flawless state, while the Elantra will have started showing a few signs of aging. There are Corollas that have covered 3 lakh kilometers and still going strong on the road. The Elantras being sold today might not be able to hold it together for that long. Resale and cost of ownership. Both these cars are bound to hold excellent residual value over the next 5 to 7 years. Overall, both the Elantra and the Corolla will be equally heavy on the pocket over an ownership period of 5 to 7 years. Interestingly though, the Elantra diesel automatic works out to be almost 2 lakh rupees cheaper than the petrol version and over $1.5 lakh rupees cheaper than the automatic Altis. Which brings us to the verdict. Driving a Corolla is like going bald or having grey hair. It just makes you look 10 years older than what you really are. Of course, nobody can argue with Toyota's bulletproof reliability and practicality, which has been perfected through 7 generations over the last 40 odd years. It is also hard to ignore the fact that the Corolla is the best-selling car in the world. But then, competition has also never been stronger. Hyundai has really cracked it with this new Elantra. Given Hyundai's track record over the last 2 decades, we can surely say that the ownership experience is going to be at least close to that of a Toyota. It is certainly better value for money than the Corolla thanks to a double whammy of lower price tag and a long list of extra features. But the most important thing is that driving the Elantra is not going to make you look old. It is going to make you look rich and even feel rich, which is why the Elantra trumps the Corolla Altis, taking the honors in